So today's writer's workshop kind of is a blend between this flash drafting that we started on Wednesday and then going back to kind of the generating practice from last week's Bend 1 work. We're focusing in on how can we make practicing deliberate and how can we use practice to become a better writer. Specifically thinking about what techniques are we using, what techniques do we maybe need to use that we're not using, or how can we strengthen a technique that we're trying to use, just maybe not the most effective. So I was reading that Jim Howe piece, that Everything Will Be Okay cat story, and I was just kind of blown away by the amount of detail that I noticed that author using. And up until this point, I feel that as a writer, I've been more concerned about what dialogue am I showing, because I envy people who can write dialogue really well. I've been envying use of figurative language kinds of things. But as I was viewing you guys' reflections on where do you feel like you need the most support, what kinds of things do we maybe still have some questions on, that elaboration piece keeps coming up again and again. So I thought, why not do an example on elaborating? And so I pulled an example from the text of that cat story that Jim Howe's writing, and it's one of the saddest parts of the story. I'm so sorry, but I think it's really effective, and the word choice is what I want you to kind of zoom in on and focus. So this is when they're in the vet's office, and he says, Smokey is inside a big old pretzel can with a hose attached, clawing at the can's sides as my brother pumps in the gas. And I think there's a lot of detail there. We know where Smokey is. We can see that the author is still referring to this cat, even though he knows this cat's going to die, as Smokey. So we can still see that sense of attachment that he has to this animal. But then the second half of that sentence is just heartbreaking, where Jim can like zoom in and go back to that time and hear the cat scratching the sides of the can, trying to get out before he dies. It's just like heartbreaking. I just want to sit and cry sometimes when I think about this story. But it's because the details that are included are so effective. So that got me thinking about my own flash draft. Totally different story. I'm learning how to water ski. And I've pulled a section that I want to share with you. It's this, I have it in my notebook in front of me. I can't show you, I wish there was a way to connect my Elmo to this and show you what I'm looking at, but I haven't figured that out yet. So we have to do the best we can, and we use this. So this is the original that I have, and then this is my rethinking, but I'll read it to you so you can actually understand what it is I'm working with here. So the original, this is not the beginning of my story. This is a moment inside my story where at this point I've jumped off the boat and I'm in the water, kind of like getting ready to get some skis thrown at me so I can put them on and try. I will fail, but I can try to water ski. You're sure you want to do this out here? I can't really hold you as this far from the dock. Debbie's forehead has furrowed in concern underneath the bill of her lake hair don't care hat. I knew she cared about me. And that's all I did. I thought when I was originally drafting this, I was kind of proud of the details that I included. Like I remembered what hat she was wearing. I remembered that like when she was frowning, like she got those wrinkles kind of like I do up on her forehead, showing that she was concerned. And I'm like, the audience can connect with this. This is fantastic writing. And then as I was rereading my flash draft, I was like, it makes sense to me because I was there experiencing it, and I know how my sister's mannerisms look, and I remember things like the hat she's wearing and stuff like that. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, if I was really in the moment, reliving this, I'm probably not concerned with what hat my sister is wearing. My audience probably is not going to get anything extra, or they're not going to empathize with my situation by knowing what kind of hat my sister, someone who's not even part of the main conflict, is wearing. So I took some time and I rewrote just that section, thinking about what kind of details could I include that mattered more to me as the character and more to the audience, not knowing all about my situation and still trying to connect with it that way. And here's what I came up with. I actually kept the original dialogue. You're sure you want to do this out here? I can't really hold you this far from the dock. And then I added, Debbie, my sister, was trying to be helpful from her spot in the boat. Now she had furrows running across her forehead. I don't blame her, as my nerves made me shiver with excitement and fear as I bobbed in the remnants of passing wakes. With every wake, I got further and further from the boat, yet not far enough that her worry was erased. So I'm not sure I'm 100% in love with how that section ends. I kind of like it. I kind of don't. I think that it maybe could use a little bit more development. I tried to write this fairly quickly, but that's what practice is for. So you'll see that your learning target today is talking about deliberate practice. And I'm going to see if I can switch to my next slide. And you should have this posted on Classroom as well. I got to this point in my practice knowing that it's still probably not my best work. It's just another option of my work. By first thinking about my mentor text, if you're still struggling with a lead for your narrative, I do suggest to not only look at Everything Will Be Okay, but to also pull out that Look Up and Watch the Show, because I really like her lead. She puts action and inner thinking in right away. I think that's a really strong example of the lead. And you got thinking about those mentor texts, and you're thinking, well, what do I really like about what this author does? What jumps out at me as a reader? And then you try and think, what kind of skill does that require for that writer to use? So in my James Howe example that I just read for you, he's zooming in on really small details and making sure that they matter for the kind of overall feeling of his piece. It wouldn't have been as effective if he said something like, I killed the cat with my brother, because then all of our emotion is kind of gone. It's so blunt. But by including things like this, I can hear, or what does it say, clawing at the can's sides as my brother pumps in the gas, is a much more emotional statement. And I think it latches onto an audience a lot faster. So that's what I did in my notebook. I even labeled it small details so I could remember what skill I was trying to practice later on down the road. I could jump to a new skill. I could maybe pull a different section from my flash draft for my next moves. But today is all about practicing skills, being thoughtful in your practice, picking very specific sections from your flash draft, and taking the time to feel like you can lift the level of that writing and make it just a little bit stronger than when you originally wrote it on your Chromebook in the first place. So I do want you to go ahead and use your notebook as a housing space to practice. And I think you'll see over time that your writing will get noticeably better if you take the time to practice deliberately.